While the Egyptians were putting the finishing touches on the Great Pyramids of Giza, the very last woolly mammoth was taking its final breath. It sounds like a historical error, but it's not. These giants didn't die out with the cavemen. A secret population survived on a remote Arctic island for 6,000 extra years, completely unaware that the rest of their species was gone. So why did they suddenly vanish in 2000 BC? New evidence suggests it wasn't humans or inbreeding. It was one single freak weather event. To understand how this tragedy unfolded, we have to erase the image of mammoths fighting saber-toothed cats. This isn't the Ice Age. This is the age of civilizations. While the Sumerians were writing poetry and the Indus Valley was building sewage systems, a ghost herd was walking in the twilight of the north. 10,000 years ago, the mainland mammoths vanished. The climate warmed, their steppe tundra habitat turned into thick forests they couldn't navigate, and hungry human hunters followed them north. Extinction seemed absolute, but nature left a back door open. As rising seas swallowed the Bering land bridge, a small peninsula was cut off from the Siberian mainland. It became Wrangel Island. Trapped on this rock were maybe 8 individuals, just 8. They watched from the shore as the ocean rose, severing their connection to the world. They were prisoners, but they were alive. For the next 6,000 years, the world forgot them. While humanity invented the wheel, agriculture, and writing, the Wrangel herd staged the greatest comeback in biological history. Their population rebounded from 8 to a stable 300. If you were to stand on Wrangel Island in 2500 BC, the mammoth you'd see wouldn't look exactly like the ones in museums. These were the satin mammoths. Genetic analysis shows they carried a mutation in a gene called FOXQ1. It affected the structure of their hair shafts. Their coats were likely translucent, satin-like, or a lighter blonde. It was a permanent bad hair day caused by their isolation, but it made them uniquely beautiful against the stark white snow. There's a myth that they became dwarfs, like tiny ponies. That's not true. They were slightly smaller than their mainland cousins, sure, but they were still 6-ton giants. And contrary to what scientists believed just a few years ago, they weren't genetic zombies. For a long time, the consensus was that inbreeding destroyed them. We thought they lost their sense of smell and became too weak to survive. But new DNA sequencing from 2024 has flipped that script. The Wrangel herd had actually purged their worst genetic mutations. They were stable. They were healthy. They survived 6 millennia of isolation. They should have survived to the present day. It wasn't a slow decline. It was a cliff edge. The extinction of the woolly mammoth likely happened over the course of a single, terrible winter. It started with rain. In the high Arctic, rain in autumn is a death sentence. It's called a rain on snow event. The water fell onto the cold tundra, and instead of soaking in, it froze into a solid sheet of ice, an impenetrable crust 2 inches thick, sealing off the ground like concrete. Mammoths are snowplows, not ice picks. They sweep snow aside to eat the dry grass underneath, but they cannot break solid ice. Suddenly, the entire island's food supply was locked inside a glass vault. They could see the food, they could smell it, but they couldn't eat it. Starvation set in quickly. But recent chemical analysis of their tusks reveals another layer to the nightmare: thirst. With fresh snow capped by ice and freshwater sources freezing over, they were forced to drink from bedrock runoff. Their bones reveal spikes in sulfur and strontium. They were drinking toxic heavy metal soup just to stay hydrated. Weakened by heavy metals, starving, and unable to break the ice, the herd began to fall. It wasn't a war. There were no spears, just the sound of wind, and then silence. The last individual likely died alone, confused, waiting for a thaw that came too late. 400 years later, the first humans finally arrived on Wrangel Island. They found a ghost ship of an ecosystem, giant white bones scattered across the tundra, bleached by the sun. They had missed the giants by a mere blink of geological time. The tragedy of the woolly mammoth isn't that they were destined to die, it's that they were tough enough to survive everything history threw at them. The Ice Age, the hunters, the isolation. They beat the odds for 6,000 years. They didn't die because they were obsolete. They died because of one bad week of weather.